Hi, this is Deborah at The Labyrinth, and this is our continuing series on Wicca. And we just finished the elements, air, fire, water, earth, and spirit. And I want to talk a little bit about elementals right now. It's not a major chunk that you're going to use, but it's nice to be aware of it. An elemental is a being that's related to occult or magical thought processes, including alchemy. And it originated on or around the European Renaissance. From the 16th century forward, it was discussed in certain manuscripts. Pythagoras was one. You can look that up. So elementals are unseen beings, I guess you would say, of an element. They represent that element. So if you ever see them, which would be in the mind's eye, like gazing at a fire, swimming in the ocean, in that nanosecond you might see them. Okay, they're not harmful. They're not going to come and get you. They're just there. Okay, they don't cause harm to people. The first one is, and they relate to each element: air, fire, water, and earth. In air, we have the sylphs, and these are things with wings: angels, fairies. Sprites don't have wings, but they would still be in the same category. Things that fly. It's also things that are unformed, like gaseous. You'll see them as smoke from a barbecue, and it moves, and that is also related to air. You might not be able to see exactly what it is. If you peer through it, you might see some wings around it or inside of it. So anything with wings relates to air. Then we have the fireflies or the salamanders that have to do with fire. And the way that you can see the salamanders is in a fire pit or barbecue. When the coals get real hot and they get red and you gaze at it, there's really not a lot of flame at that point. And you might see these little red things moving. Okay, those are salamanders. And then when the fire crackles and you have little light up here where it comes up, those are fireflies. Those are related to the fire element, which is the south. Then we have the water elemental. Those are the undines, and these are mer people, water nymphs. And through history you can see a lot of water nymphs in a lot of the stories that were told and the myths that were told. These relate to water. I think they were one, there was a 3 nymphs, and they got the guy and they wound up drowning him, and because they were half naked and pretty, and he jumped in, that was the end of him. So, and then also when we had the ship going and the sirens, things like that. So there's a lot of mythology that surround the undines. And then we have earth. Those are the gnomes, and these are my favorite. They are. They look like little midgets, around 2.5, 3 feet, if wearing earth-colored clothing, and they live underground. Actually, the gnomes, they are earth movers. If you're doing work on your property, you might see them during the day. That means they're pissed, but they're not going to bother you. So they're around when you're doing changes to the earth. Also gardening, big earth moving, like when they clear a lot for new construction, you might see them. And you might see them even early in the morning, not late in the afternoon. If you're going to see them, you'll see them early in the morning, because usually they're out all night. So those are gnomes, and that relates to the earth. So if you see any of these beings, it just means that element, that elemental energy is around you. You can use it if you want and bring it to you, or you can say, I don't want to use that. I'm just going to observe. It's nothing scary. They're not going to come get you. It's just an indication that you have a lot of that elemental energy around you, to where the elemental actually shows up. So I want to go over a minute about elements, watchtowers, and watchers, because if you research the elements, you'll see that they go back in time and they are linked to different things. So remember that the elements are linked to the 4 directions in the Wiccan and magical philosophies. They're designed to call only the energy that you allow in the circle. I'll repeat that again. Only the energy that you allow. Okay, remember, you're the one that's in charge here. They can be used to invoke the elementals, angels, totem animals, dragons, deities, and ancient archetypes or ancestral spirits. Each element has activities, objects, and ideas with which it shares an affinity to. Everything is ruled or governed by a particular element: air, fire, water, earth, or spirit. Now, if we go further back with the elements, we get to the watchtowers. Now, the watchtowers, in the progression of magical thinking, thought progression, let's say, before we had the elements in Wicca, we had the watchtowers. Now, the watchtowers are very, very, very old. I mean, to the beginning of time. They are the 4 directional powers corresponding to the elements. They are imagined far beyond the circle in 4 directions. Each functions as a protective power for the circle, as well as a portal to other realms of being, and they are presided over by the watchers. I know this might get confusing. So first we have the elements, right, that will call into us. Now in that we're calling to us, we have all the way to the end of the watchtowers. doorways, watchtowers, that go all the way back beyond the circle in all 4 directions. Then they're presided over by the Watchers. Now, the Watchers are spiritual entities that are in various magical traditions, ancient and modern. In Jewish and Christian esoteric traditions, the Watchers were a class of fallen angel, not negative, the sons of God who mated with the daughters of men in chapter 6 in Genesis. So, if you have a Bible, go get chapter 6 in Genesis and read it. If you don't, Google it. I don't care. Listen, if you're Wiccan, you want to look at all esoteric components of other religions that came after you, because guess what? What you're doing right now was dragged forward. So, look and see their take on it. It only adds to your knowledge and understanding of what they're talking about. So, they're also known as the Grigori, which is the Greek name for the Watchers. When I first found out about the Watchers, this is how I related to them. I saw 4 huge angels, beyond dark, huge, that extended to the boundaries of the universe, east, south, west, and north. These are spiritual beings. So when I first happened upon these, I don't know what the heck they were, and then I did my research and I found out. So I perceived them as angels, because that's all I had in my head was, oh, it's a good thing, it's an angel, right? It just is. It's neither good nor bad. They are boundaries of the universe to the edge of the universe. So we have the Watchers, who's at the edge, then we have the Watchtowers, who's a little bit more in, and then we have the elements right here, and then you're right in the middle of the circle. So if you look at it, it's extending out onto the sides of the universe. You really don't have much to do with these guys, really. Sometimes you might call a watchtower behind an element when you're calling an element in the circle. It depends on what the need is. Depends on how desperate you are. You got to pull out all the stops. You might want to do that. Some traditions do call the watchtowers before they call the element itself, because the watchtower is further out. So you always start out here and move in. So you might see some rituals. I've seen it done in a Gardnerian ritual. They did call the watchtowers. So you might see it, you might not. We're going to just work with the elements to keep things a little simple. The next couple of videos are going to be about a ritual. Now, rituals can be done for magical purposes. It can be done for if you want to commune with divinity. It could be done for a meditation. A ritual is just things around the work that you're doing, but you're doing them in what's called sacred space. And there's certain steps that you want to go to, the more you want to connect with everything and have all those correspondences there and be protected and only call in what you want. So I'm going to go over first to formulating a ritual, and then I'm going to go over each step and what it means and explain why you do it. And remember, I don't know everything, okay? I'm showing you my way. Other people have different ways. You might want to incorporate this into what you already do, a little extra nugget. Or if you're starting out, you might want to start here, get it to memory and use it. And then if you want to change it later, you can. That's one thing about Wicca. You can make it your own. However, in a ritual, there are certain things. There is a format you have to follow. So you don't put cleaning all the way at the end after you did an invocation. You don't do an invocation and then put up your circle. There's certain things that have to be done in order, but you can change what's in that particular paragraph, let's say. So when you want to formulate your ritual, the first thing you're going to do is your ritual can be done on the full moon, the new moon, quarter moon, holidays, or when it's needed. The ritual outline should always be the same for several reasons. The first is that you put it to memory, you memorize it. So you say things over and over and over and over, the same things with the original ritual, so that you no longer have to worry about what you're saying later. You already know it, you remember it, it's second nature. You don't have to think, it just comes out. And you can concentrate on the energies behind those words rather than the words themselves. So if you're going to do this, I would suggest to get everything you want or can out of it, get it to memory so that you don't have to keep thinking about what you're saying, so that you can connect to these energies instead, because that's what we're doing this for. We're not doing it just to say the words. No, we're doing it to see internally behind it. The words are just to get you there, but the work is inside. So you don't want to be distracted and think, oh, what do I say next? After you memorize it, it'll be second nature, and now you're connecting with those energies. You'll feel it. The second thing that you need to do is only substitute the work part and the invocations once you have this ritual ritual template that I'm going to give you. So once it's completed, it's very simple. You take the same template and you just plug in different things. Very simple. You can get more elaborate if you want to. You can make it simple and say it's fewer words. I've done that. Fewer words than you want to. I've done that, but I'm going to give you both on that. So we're going to start with the simple ritual outline. And the outline is this. First we have, and the cameraman's going to put this up so you can see it. The first thing that we're going to do is called an altar devotion. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to clean the space and ourselves. Then we're going to cast the circle. Then we're going to call each quarter, east, south, west, and north. Then we're going to do an invocation, which is calling down the energy of spirit. Then we're going to do our work, which could be a spell, it could be meditation, it could be just standing still, not having any brain activity at all, just to be receptive to spirit. We can do prayer. Again, leave your comments on what you want to do with this ritual, because I'll look at the comments and I'll make a determination on what to do according to what you want. And we can all do it together. That's the work part. The work part's always interchangeable. Then we do thanks and prayers. Yes, Wiccans do pray. Then we do what's called the Great Rite. The Great Rite is symbology of the male and the female part of divinity coming together. If you're Christian or Catholic, you might have had a communion. It's the same thing, basically. The same thing. A little more involved though. The communion in the Catholic and Christian faiths are more of transmutation, of taking Jesus into yourself, the body, actual body, the wafer turns into that. Well, in the Wiccan religion, we have symbology of the male and the female divinity and them coming together, which is now creating life, energy, okay? That's what we're connecting to. So it's similar in one way, different in another. Then we have a divocation. That's thanking and saying goodbye to divinity. Then we call up the quarters. Again, the same thing. We're saying thank you for attending, thank you for witnessing, and thank you for protecting, and now releasing that energy. And then we pull up the circle. So we're going to start with a simple ritual outline, and I'll give you an example of each component, starting with writing up the correspondences, altar devotion, preparing the space for casting, the casting itself, the quarter calls, and then you guys are going to let me know what the work is, and we can all do it together. We might even do a live stream on that. What do you think? We can do a live stream. My cameraman's shaking his head. Yeah, I pinned him in a corner. Even we could do this ritual live stream. How about that? We could all do it together, and then I could see what you're typing in. If you need me to go over something else, I'll go over it again, because I want you to be able to feel comfortable doing this. And believe me, you're not going to get hit by lightning and dead and go to hell. That is going to happen. Remember, this is a mechanical thing here, energetic wise. If you are not Wiccan, and let me stress this, if you are not Wiccan, you can still do this. You can substitute what you believe into this, because this is mechanics. It's mechanics. And I'm going to get to that also about different religions and how you can use this format in other religions, because it's energy work. It's energy work. That's all it is. Okay? Except for the spell part. Even that's energy work. But if you're Christian, Catholic, Jewish, the Jews, they use a lot of this stuff if you want to research that. A lot of stuff. A lot if you get into Judaism. Anyway, write down below what you want to do as far as the work or the spell in this ritual when we get to it. Each week I'm going to go over a different component and explain what it is, why it is, how to use it, what it's for, blah, blah, blah. So next time we're going to do the altar devotion, and then we're going to do the cleaning of the space and yourself. That's what we're going to do next time. So my cameraman will put up this format, and we're going to go each time of what to do and what's written, what is said, and then there'll be a physical demonstration on it, and then at the end we'll put it all together in a live stream. So think about what you want to do as far as the ritual is concerned. By the way, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, leave a comment, good or bad, I don't care. And it's great talking to you guys, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.